Representative Kiley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for being here today, Mr. Richardson. I'd like to talk with you briefly about a very simple action that the President and FEMA could take that would come at a relatively modest cost, would make an enormous difference for many people in my district, and would reverse an enormous wrong committed by President Joe Biden. It relates to the Caldor fire, which you might be familiar with. The Caldor fire was one of the biggest fires in California history. It was in 2021, and you might remember the images that were really surreal of the ski slopes that were on fire and were ablaze. The blaze came very close to actually destroying the entire town of South Tahoe, which I represent. Fortunately, there was legislation that had created a categorical exclusion for fire mitigation that had allowed for a fire break to be created, and we were able to stop it from going into South Tahoe. But folks in the community of Grizzly Flats were not so fortunate. Hundreds of homes there were destroyed in 2021. The fire was so massive that Joe Biden actually came and visited shortly after, and did a tour in a helicopter, and then he made a promise to the victims in Grizzly Flat that he was going to help, that the federal government would support them. He said it was a federal responsibility. He then broke that promise. Joe Biden's FEMA denied individual assistance to the victims of the Caldor fire in Grizzly Flats on multiple occasions. I spoke with the president about it personally, and he said he wanted to correct the wrong. He never did. And so these folks now, several years later, many continue to suffer with the rebuilding process. Many are still just camped out in RVs or trailers on their property, and they still have not received the individual assistance that they're entitled to. So FEMA, under President Biden, as I mentioned, denied this multiple times. But the president has the authority to grant the assistance himself. And in fact, President Trump did this during his first term for multiple wildfires in California. So my question is this something that you might be able to look into and talk with the president about to finally get the victims of the fire in the Caldor fire, the victims in Grizzly Flats, the individual assistance they deserve?
Yeah, I can go both ways on that. I can talk to, and thank you for the question. I can talk to Region 10, Bob Fenton, and I can also reach out to the White House, find out where the Delta is, and then get back to you with the potential way forward.
I really appreciate that. And I think that, there's also room to look at the process by which these determinations are made within FEMA, because, one of the things, for example, that they used in their analysis, even though there are bigger wildfires where folks have gotten the individual assistance, they, for example, looked at the income level in El Dorado County as a whole, which is where Grizzly Flats is. Even though Grizzly Flats itself is not by any stretch of the imagination a wealthy area, but they counted the overall median income of the county against the people who lost their homes within this particular jurisdiction. There's a lot of arbitrary things like that that just don't make sense. But at the end of the day, this is a promise that the President of the United States, Joe Biden, made to the people in our community, and then he broke that promise. And I'm really hopeful that the President, if he has the ability to do so, can right that wrong.
I'll reach out to Region 9, I'll reach out to Region 10, and then I'll be able to get back with you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yield back. Yield to the chair, in fact.
I thank the gentleman. Regarding the issue of call time, I just want to reference the New York Times article, which apparently was the source for the dispute over how many people actually received an answer on the call. And according to the article, it says, according to a person briefed on the matter who spoke on the condition of anonymity. Now, like I've said before, we all have, I think, reasonable criticisms of and valid criticisms of FEMA, but on this occasion, I just want to make sure we're not making judgments based on people that spoke on condition of anonymity. And further in the article, it says the agency did publish similar data on October 29, 2024, which I'll remind everybody was during the last administration, during President Biden's administration, days after Hurricane Helene barreled across the South and nearly 3 weeks after Hurricane Milton hit Florida. That information showed the agency did not answer nearly half of the 507,766 incoming calls over the course of a week, E&E News reported. With that having been said, Mr. Administrator, can you, like I said, I think we all want to level set here. People on both sides of the aisle would like to know the efficacy of the call center and the response to people calling in for disasters. Can FEMA provide that information and the source of that information moving forward? Can we get a report on that so that we can know how well FEMA is performing in that paradigm?
So this is how I'll answer them, Mr. Chairman. I think we can legally share that with, I think we can, okay? I don't know for sure, but if we can, we will. I do know that we surged support.
Yeah, I understand. I think that both sides of the aisle would like again, to level set and know what that information is and the source of that information. And if there's some reason that you can't do it legally, we would like to know that as well so we can take whatever action is appropriate here in Congress.
Yes.
All right.
I'll fully cooperate.
I thank the gentleman. The chair now